Apparently chocolate and grape filling.
Is it? Okay, we're gonna get to number 10, a discussion on language for an amendment to the WIC services contract.
Okay, you have that information in your packet from Kayla. Should be in there. So this was something that in those discussions, when you were doing the contract, that you had mentioned about getting added in. So it's on the part where the state may hire a contract staff to provide WIC services and will work with the county to determine if the space is available for contract employees to utilize. Also, the state agrees to carry out all administrative and supervisory responsibilities and provide fiscal management for this contractual agreement. Sub-recipient will work with the dietitian manager if disciplinary action is needed. So they're kind of spelling out when they hire these individuals through a different service, that this is what they will do in order to make sure that they're being supervised and what the protocol will be. Also safeguard and maintain the security of the facility. So her question is, are you agreeable to add this in? They would amend the original contract, then it would come to you in full text with this verbiage added into it, and then you would either approve or deny, I guess, is if you want something added to this, or if you're okay with this. I just would need to let her know. So if you want to ponder it for a bit and then just give me a yay or nay, or if there's something you think should be added. And then they will amend that contract and send it back.
Do you need a motion?
Nope, I just kind of need an okey dokey from you guys so they know how to proceed, whether to add this in or not. So,
I just gave you my.
Okay.
okey-dokey.
so,
I'll second his okey doke.
okay, you're good with that. I will
Yeah.
let Kayla know then. They will update it and then we'll come before you again for approval.
It's good. It's straightforward.
Okay, thank you, Brenda. Moving down to number 11, need action to approve the post election audit report.
Right, you have that information in front of you so that you can see that our post-election audit did in fact coincide 100% with what the tabulator tabulated on election night. So all ballots were hand counted. There was 932 of them for 2 races in B2. And they had one issue with one of them, but it was because they counted an overvote and it should have been counted. So they found their error, because if they don't match, they need to go back through to see, is it human error, is it tabulator error? It was a human error in this case, and they found it in it. So it was 100% spot on.
Make a motion to approve.
A motion by Gable, second by Waterman, to approve the post-election audit. Any other questions?
Just, I came in and watched for a second at the beginning, and it's like, when I started watching guys comments, like, I'm not gonna stay for this. But it was like,
They were done by
it
1:45.
was like,
Mhm.
did anybody else from the public come to look at it?
No other spectators. You should have stayed longer.
No, so I got the idea. Okay, so what I was gonna-
Okay. But yeah, it's a good process to watch so that
Yeah.
you know, kind of understand that.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, number 12. Review and possible action to approve and sign union contracts. Natalie, if you wanna.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Morning again.
Morning again. So you have the contracts before you for our 3 unions for the correctional officers for Teamsters, the sheriff's deputies, and the highway department through AFSCME. We had a very good negotiation with all of them this year and came up to agreement on all of them. And so there's differences between the different contracts that we've gone through, you know, all of that. Big thing is the 4% COLA was what was agreed to on that. So if you have any questions, I guess we can go through specifics, but.
Motion by Gable, second by Van Dusen, that we approve and sign these contracts.
Just quick question, Mr. Chair. We can do this all we can place it with one motion.
Yeah.
You okay with that?
Any other questions for Natalie?
Not a question, plastic comments, I'd like to take that.
Thank you, Troy. Thank you.
Process.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very much appreciated.
It's-
Thank
it's-
you.
Everybody has to come together to agree, and we're all happy on both sides, so it's a good thing.
Right.
Yes. Yes. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, moving down to number 13, discussion possible action in regard to Collier's financial agreement as presented by Toby Morris. Come on up, Toby. Well, we hope today's price is right.
Right, let me.
Good morning. I guess I'm just wondering, where would you like me to start? I have a little bit more information, maybe just recap of the past couple weeks since congratulations on the election. I think I went back on my notes from 2014, so it's been a long time in the running, but yeah, nice job. Been working with your construction manager now, looking at what the next steps are going to be as they start designing, getting everything put together. Where we sit in on the financing side then is providing advice is when should you issue the debt? And a lot of times you just want to say, well, it looks like the rates are low, we want to go out and issue it. What I did is I brought this, and this is an overview of what happens when you issue debt is just as important of what you do with the money when it comes into your investment fund, because you know what, 2 years ago, you might have made 0.2%, 0.1%. It really wasn't looking at it from that because you couldn't do anything about it. So with our proposals, we talked to you today. It's not only helping with the debt, it's taking it a step further on the back end. So what we'll do is we'll work with the construction manager. There's a process that goes with that to see where the timing, the pay downs, and by identifying roughly about $2 million, it looks like is going to be spent on the A&E up until, I would say, that June time, depending on when the bids go out. When the levy goes in, it has to be in by the 1st of October, basically submitted. So the debt would then possibly be sold between, say, anytime from June to August, maybe September. Unless there's like something really crazy in the market that happens in March or April, we'll be very cognizant of keeping track on that. But what I wanted to point out here is in this page, this MMD, and this is an opportunity that can really come about. And we've been able to do this for Lawrence County with making, in this similar bond issue that they had here. These are where your average interest rates are at, is about that 3.48%. And that's, you know, give or take 15 basis points, but that's fixed for the 20 years. The second page is where you see the treasuries. And what we have, the difference between that is that 3.6 to say a 4.10 is about 0.5%, 50 basis points. When you invest and say we buy 6-month treasuries and we're getting a 4.16 and your bonds at a 3.60, the IRS has very specific rules. What they don't want you to do is issue tax exempt money, and they have a fancy word called arbitrage it. Meaning you're making money on your money because it's an investment's higher than the interest. But they grant exceptions for that. And so that's where it's critical that we work hand in hand with the construction manager and speaking with Brenda to monitor how much equity you have going into it. And then at the same time, when the bond proceeds are issued, reimbursing yourself so we match up into the IRS rules. Now, there's a lot of stuff that goes behind the scenes, but ultimately what happens is if we can generate an extra couple $100,000, let's just, we've just got to follow the rules, and that just really involves a lot of coordination between myself, the staff, and then the construction manager on that. We've been very efficient on that from, Lawrence County, the Harrisburg School. A couple years ago, you didn't even think about it, but now there's a great opportunity. Next week, I think we're expecting a 25 basis point cut with the feds is what it looks like it's coming in. I wouldn't be surprised to see another one this spring. So with the timing of your bond, and this is where we act as the advisor and saying, okay, what are we seeing coming about? When do we think it's going to come? Right now, there's no reason to rush into issuing the debt by any means. You're on offense, time's on your side, and then that's what we'll continue to monitor for the next several months. And then once the bond's issued on top of that, we'll then work with ladder on the investments, make sure that you always have cash to make the pay apps. But then, instead of money sitting idle in a money market at say 3%, do we buy a 3-month treasury? Do we buy CDs? Everything that's permissible under codified law. So we're not buying real estate in Florida by any means, so.
So I put the thing on the slide. This is from Tegra. It's similar to what the spreadsheet.
Yes,
Basically, you sent me before. So this is the money that Tegra's prediction of what we have to spend to get us through July. But that could be before we would have the debt issue or the
correct.
follow funds basically. So well, that's the first question is this goes through July. Would this get us to that point up to where the debt is issued or will we need to plan on a couple more months, I think? Because this would have to be like equity, right?
Correct.
Much for the first part. So I mean, so that portion, basically the portion of the what we're using that our the money that we've been saving for this project initially. So
To get into the weeds a little bit, what I would recommend is you would use your cash initially for the next 6 months. With what we discussed, you have the available cash balance. And the important reason on that, the IRS rule says they have a spend down rule. So if you issue debt today for simple numbers, 30 million, you have to spend 10% within 6 months. So let's just say by May, you have to have 3 million spent. Well, you haven't even gone out for the project. You have 2 million spent here with the potential of the A&E drawdown. So you're going to be short $1 million, which knocks you out of this. What we would ask then is you issue what's called the reimbursement resolution. The IRS says, hey, if you have the intent of issuing debt, you issue this reimbursement resolution. So now when we get to May, what happens, we issue the bond, say for 30 million, we reimburse you 2 million back into the county funds. So it doesn't have the tax exempt stigma attached to it. That money can still go back and invested with the general fund and invested at that point. But now we've got a heck of a fighting chance coming out of the gate to make sure we follow the spend down rules on that. And then from what we're talking about Brenda, it doesn't appear that it's going to impact your cash flow within your general fund. If something does happen, by all means, we can be in the market within 30 days. There's probably bigger issues, but nonetheless, we want to always maximize what we can. The first priority is you have money to pay the bills when they come in. Second is let's maximize this and have some fun and make some money off it.
So, and as far as the spend down rules, that applies to the bonded amount or the overall project?
The bonded amount. Yep.
Can you Mr. Chair, if you want to go through the agreement or are there other things that you here?
No, the agreements, it has quite a few pages because we are so heavily regulated on that. But the Reader's Digest it's a straight fee. Whether I come over here 5 times, 15 times, we don't charge reimbursement. That always drives me nuts when I sit in the audience and I hear somebody say, well, yeah, I need $6.99 for the Whopper that we bought over. It's like, no, there's no hourly to it. There's no postage, anything. It is what it is on that part.
Yeah, so we're talking about $65,000.
Correct.
One thing that and just when hoping that I talked a little bit just so when you say you compare this to other investment advising, so there, I mean, there's fees built into that, but yours is lower, is what you're saying, than say, but.
Yeah, there's two components, like we discussed last time. You have the advisor and then you would have the underwriter. The underwriter is a much higher fee than us, but they're the ones that access the market on a very broad basis and have a lot more overhead to pay. Granted, we're an underwriter, but if I'm an underwriter, I can't give you the advice on the investment side. And so that's where, that's where I feel it's the value added benefit by going to the advisor side. And then we would, look at bringing the underwriter. Last time we spoke was Baird. They're the major player in the upper Midwest. Any large deal, what you may see is you may see a $300 million deal. They're the lead with, 15 underwriters underneath of them. So they have an incredible efficient markets on that. We're good. They're great. Put it that way. I mean, when you get into something above that 20-30 million mark, you want to really have a broad span to a larger investment base on that. And that translates to a lower interest rate to you guys.
Just looking at the services. Sure.
Yep.
So number 9, it seems to me one of the key ones is just what you talked about is helping us, recommending bond counsel for us, helping us with that, getting the bond, the bonds, and then number 12, what you were talking about before, just the dates of issue. And helping that maximize the return for the
I will serve, hopefully serve as you have your construction manager. I would be your finance manager. I coordinate everything from the legal to the rating to the underwriter to updates to you. So I'm your one-stop shop that can relay everything back to you, and I work for you and you won't. And so I follow your direction, and I ethically guided to do what's always in your best interest.
I've got a question. So during this process of the 20 years, interest goes up, down, looks like it's going down. Our amount that we're assessing the taxpayers, that may move depending on what this market does, because we're only buying a 3-month or a 6-month bond on this treasury to help our cost, correct? Lowering our cost of the total interest and stuff. So that's a moving thing. So we really don't know for sure if it's going to be 59. It could be 63. It could be 47, depending on the market.
On the interest rates or the yield rates?
On the
investment rates.
Just trying to think how I can explain that better. If interest is helping us lower our cost of this bond.
Correct.
So lowering our cost of this bond is going to actually be super good for the taxpayer.
Absolutely.
So that's why it's really important that we're, you're advising us to make the right choice at the right time, because it has big implications on the size of a loan.
Absolutely. You deal with 30 million in a couple basis points is several $1,000s.
Yeah.
It's
So
very precise.
We're projecting what it is, but until we get into it, then we'll really have a concrete number when the auditor works with the numbers that we have for what we're paying interest on the bond.
Yeah, because the more we can make this it just lessens the project cost.
Yes, yes. Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
The sale of the bond should be quite brisk. With the county the way it is right now, there should be plenty of interest in purchasing these bonds.
There will be. What'll really help is when we go through the rating process, and I would expect nothing less than what we consider like a AA minus, because you guys have strong financials, big valuations, and the higher that rating, the more buyers you can find lower the rate.
So why aren't we AA or AAA? What would it take to get to AAA?
Well,
I know the state of South Dakota, can't we follow into, there are certain recommendations that we have to make AAA as far as the state of South Dakota. Don't we fall under that somewhere?
You still have that same criteria. I was actually the advisor to the state to get that AAA rating. When you get into that AAA, you're going to be compared to like Rochester, Minnesota, and their base and their diversification. So, you know, the AA is good, the AAA, just to manage expectations, probably isn't achievable because they don't really give those out like a Willy Wonka bar. It's very, very tough to get to that.
Thanks South Dakota retirement.
Yes,
Just for you to know, one of the reasons that state, South Dakota is a AAA is because of the.
no OPEB.
Yeah.
Yep, we're 102% funded with the
Yep.
brilliance of Matt down there.
And there just isn't any other state in the nation that has that. So it's very important.
As a side note, we go to New York every year and present for the state, myself and Matt and the governor, and that guy's like a rock star there. It's,
Yeah. It's great.
they don't want to have dinner with us. They want to have dinner with
Yeah,
Matt.
with math.
Yes.
You guys know math, it'd take a long time to eat dinner too. Don't ask him a question.
So are we looking for a motion to sign this agreement?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll make the motion.
Second it.
Motion by Van Dusen, second by Johnson to move ahead with this agreement. Any other questions?
Do us well.
Well, thank you. Look forward to the opportunity.
All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Motion carries. Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Look for it.
Well, I just know it's really important to let the public know how this is working, and if we can do a good job of that, everybody will be really comfortable with how
Yeah.
it's proceeding.
Yeah, I agree.
And so thank you for taking time to explain a little bit of the weeds.
Anytime. I can get caught up in there, but it's always good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'll give you a call later to talk about some of the.
Okay, moving down to number 14, note office closures Monday, the 28th and 29th. Thanks.
Not Monday.
Thursday,
Oh,
Thursday and Friday.
I got one of the, okay. It's like, yeah, 28th and 29th, Thanksgiving Day will be closed. Number 15, is there any abatements? Number 16, action to approve any claims?
Yes, so I'll have two different motions. We have regular claims. There was 4 of them that came in that we needed to get taken care of to avoid any finance or late fees. And EMC insurance, that was the difference with the new motor graders, the cost of what they were. Hy-Vee is just supplies. Minnehaha County Auditor is some mental illness recoveries and Watertown Public Opinion for the advertising, for a total of $3,037.81.
Move to approve.
Motion by Johnson, second by Gable. Any other further question? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Your other one is the November payroll, that you also have that. The total amount is $779,704.43.
Motion by Gable,
Second,
second by Van Dusen. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Motion carries.
No budget supplements, personnel changes, or travel requests.
Okay. Number 20, public notices of any possible quorums of the commissioner. I see the Farmers Business Banquet, that's not till December 5th.
And at noon, or today is the ethanol annual meeting. Glacier Lakes ethanol. I was gonna go, but I probably should go home and take care of my colds.
yeah, please.
We do it soon.
If there's
I didn't hear what-
no other notices for that, we'll go down to number 21, any old business? Seeing none. Number 22, is there any new business?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, just let folks know, so with, as far as the jail process, because I've gone through that before, but, you know, looking at some of the things that need to happen, basically, putting together the plan, and conducting the survey, where we put the survey on the site, and then going through and getting to a point where we have like buildable blueprints, where we can do groundbreaking, hopefully, late springish. But we'll see how that goes, the main thing is to do it right. And then along with that, all the thing that Tabor put together with the map of the kind of the plan of what we'd have to be spending to pay the bills up until the point where we issue the bonds. So, looking at meetings between mostly between the architects, construction manager, sheriff, primarily with the users of the facility, twice a month. If people are curious about that, if they like it's available to the CCJC members, and then I'll try to the rest of that. And if any commissioner, we just have to watch the forum rules, but if the commissioner wants to listen into one of those and sort of like, just let me know. Posted, but we're looking at trying to get those done twice a month to keep kind of a regular rhythm going. So we help the architect draw the plans accurately.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner Gable. Okay, number 23 is time for open public comment. So, someone would like to comment or call? I'm seeing none. Is there any commissioner comments? Seeing none. We do have a need for executive session number 1, discussion of personnel issues.
Move to go into exec.
Motion by Van Dusen, second by Gable. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Notes.